was the whole bus. They were sitting there listening to the host speakers, Shema Yisrael, the entire procedure, and that was it. Then we left. We had no idea what in the middle of the year slichas. Last night, the connection made sense. Same group, and he was saying slichas in Kevarachel. And we were in Brooklyn.
So you had, how many shuls were connected to it?
Just one.
No, there were two other shuls. Rabbi Reuben
Now with Kevarachel.
Reuben with 40,000 people connected to it.
Right, they were already
connected. No, but Reuben was in a shul. I think he was together, he got in the shul, they made that conference and everything. Simultaneously with Rabbi Yadis that was connected to Rabbi Yadis. Could be they also took the hookup from there.
Learn the landscape.
I will take it. No, I don't want that, I just want the cup. Thank you.
The permission before we start.
Coke Zero is acceptable?
We'll say a little feeling before we start.
Yeah, no, getting full service. I'm gonna get spoiled.
Would you like some ice?
Yes, actually, but we'll do without.
Before we start, I just want to say it's feeling because whatever we're doing now should be the course of the learning. It should be for the hostages. We have a list of all the people that are in. I'll tell you a little story.
Then Miriam Hoover.
There you go.
Yeah?
Du hast auch von der Karte, in der Sinne. Ich warte mal, ich soll das in der Weise suchen. Ich assume schon mal die Liste mit der Bnei Shmuel, wie es
Rob's son is in Lebanon.
Oh no, Rahman, Rachim,
So,
so I was some Tishma, but I share.
in active service.
This goes Piers Baladina, my woman's name. Amcha, Nessa, my Shwim, with Kan Bo, Miklich Gozik. Kan Manev, you know, Shwim, Shadi Nasha. Yotzabri, Mishlem, Kevle, Nasurehem. Kamen Mishu Kos, Venochim, Picha, Sicha, Shadabas. Kokli Yusuf, Yusuf, Shulkok, Mata, Shul Tashir. Katamata, Asum, Motsa, Sim, Bekoshoris. Belhog, Ataman, Surehem, Cleo, Basel, Nialehim. Ono, I know you see him last and Lacham, Kamishu Kos, Lemon, Asum, say. Asher Kosher, Rigol, Shlach, Melch, Vetereil, Moshe, Al, Vivatel. Atzila Mechayis Rois, Mechosh Mesrof Makrov, Rof Mitzoma, Kend of Miriam, Mekol Geshem Bod, Mesel of Kvov, Meker, Ruch Zalovers, Mot Shal Avak Vafel, Ruch Zahara, Mechamas, Kol Choyli Malchum Malchum, Baolo, Venezig Chabolo, Mezrikas Afro, Sois, and Mentavera, Marisos, Abotem, Kav Koloi, Rogadek, Chazrim, Lebetain, Sholem, Hagim, Mechos Chemsen, Mechaim, Mesholem. Shlem beguf v'nash v'kamish v'chazov kitav v'mayim kitavo v'mayim mitzchol oni v'naharis lo yishutzucha. B'sarav v'mashku v'nehus v'lechnus v'necho. Lucha yom shuva v'nehu v'sava Yisrael. This is a tefillah that was written on Patia 80 years ago.
Who's this?
On Patia. It was a Talmud Chav of the Ben Ish Chai, specifically for the people who are in captivity. Be joyful to hear two stories. I want to tell you one story quickly before we start. From Rabbi Yom Shmueli. Everyone heard of Rabbi Yom Shmueli?
No.
Big Makubal in Eretz Yisrael. For 40 years he was the Rosh Yeshiva of Nahar Shalom. The oldest yeshivas for Kabbalah. Previous Rosh Yeshiva was Rav Mordechai Sharabi. He was the big tzaddik of the last generation. And he's a very well accepted.
Did you have that, Robbie?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sharabi's not here, he's not Sharabi.
I have my brother was in Sharabi. They're not the same family. Elliot Sharabi. In any case, this is an interesting story. Rabbi Yom Shmueli, he's in all the pharmacy as Haskamas. He's one of the Doilim in the Sephardic community in Eretz Yisrael. And he learned with someone for many, many years, Chavrusa, Choshev Yid, and that man's son went off to Derech. And they didn't have that much contact. 2 weeks ago, his son comes to him in a dream.
2 weeks ago.
He had no idea.
After the war started.
Yeah. He had no idea about his son. He had no idea that his son went to that festival. they didn't really retain much contact. The son comes to his room shining and tells his father that he was killed. The father had no idea. The father didn't even know that he was over there. And he tells him, I want you to know something. Don't worry about doing very well up here. I want you to know, as soon as these animals came and they started attacking, all the people at the festival, they were immediately Mikabel Tshuva. Every single one said Shema Yisrael. And we all left the Kedusha, and we're all in a tremendous place. Go tell the world that. And that's when he found out he was that he lost his son, and he had shivers. So Rabbi Yom Shmuley went to B'Menachem and he heard the story firsthand from his chavrusa. That's the we should be zeicher to hear to Yeshua's Klal Yisrael, and the best way to do that is by learning Torah Sasod. We read about Torah Sasod Hashem. It's all based on the Zohar, and Yosef HaNizanefeld and all the Gedolim would be learning Torah Sasod. It says that the Zohar says that the Sifra Da Yifkam and Gelusa Barachmei. Those who learn the Zohar will bring the Gula with Rachman, not with all the problems. And we love to Hatzio. So with that, we'll begin. Just to give you a recap, we are in the 11th chapter of the Tanya. And we're going to be so we remember we analyzed, we had a question beginning. So it's Tzaddik and Ben and Misham talked about different madregas, we know who's what, when, where. And we analyzed the psychic of the neshama. We found out where we have dual personalities, not just one. We have two neshamas inside of us. We got two for the price of one. One is Nefesh Elokis, one is Nefesh Bahamas. Each one has thoughts, deeds, actions, feelings, and whatever. And they're put into something called a body. Our body is neutral field, neutral territory, not like the Goyim. Consider Gashmis negative. Our bodies are actually ultimately going to be greater than the neshama. But right now the body is neutral. Its tendency is like gravity and it goes down. If you don't do anything with it, the body schleps you down. Just like everything in the world here goes down. Our tafkid is to bring up the body through the Torah and mitzvahs that we have. And we explained that there's a battle between the Nefesh Elokis and Nefesh Bahamas inside our body. And they're not equal. There's, in most cases, an imbalance. If one is stronger, then he's going to do, if the Yetzer Tov is stronger, then he won't be doing any averes. Or he won't be leaning towards negative things. If the Nefesh Bahamas is stronger, then we have a Beinoni. The Beinoni, they're both equally strong. In the Beinoni, both the Nefesh Elokis and Nefesh Bahamas are tremendously powerful, but he behaves like a tzaddik. It doesn't come out in action. In actuality, he doesn't do any averes, but he has the urges both ways. The last parak that we learned a few weeks ago, before everything happened, for the holidays, whatever, we learned that there's many levels of tzaddikim, many levels of Risham, and there's one level of Beinoni. In tzaddikim, there's many levels, depends on how much of a tzaddik a person is. We went through. Now in the opposite way. Everything's zelu maseh. So now we'll learn in Perek Yud Aleph, it describes most people in the Baal Tanya's definition of what a tzaddik and a rush is are not in the category of tzaddik. But they could be at every moment, and even throughout the day and throughout their life, there are different cycles.
Throughout the day?
Yeah, so for example, let's say in Shemona Esrei, in the middle of davening or by Krishma, you could be at that moment a tzaddik gomer. At that point, you're close enough to Hashem at that moment that your Nefesh Bahamas doesn't have any power over it. So you really can be considered a tzaddik at that moment. That can change. Obviously, the ideal is to remain consistent, but we have these different. That's why it's important to learn these all the different madregas that we have. Now, the Tanya starts in Yud Aleph that just like by tzaddik we had tzaddik v'tovloi, tzaddik v'raloi. Tzaddik v'tovloi, we explained, was a tzaddik who everything is perfect. There's no negative. He's a complete tzaddik, and he has no urges. He already destroyed the Yetzer Hara. He converted it to Tov. He doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. There are very few of those, but there are in every generation. Hashem plants every generation. What?
Today was the outside of nothing to he stood up and he said, Tyra, it's like you can't see anything inside, like someone that for all his pain, it's like learning in Yisur, like what he told on Yisur. There's no Yisur when you come to Tyra.
Right. So we have tzaddikim like that. For the most people, Hashem put us in a world of challenge. That's our avodah. And tzaddik v'raloi is depending on how much the person, his ra still inside of him, but he controls it. And we mentioned that it's like by Isser and Heter. Sometimes you go by Sarah, because most of the time the ra is subdued. So there's 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, different levels of bittul. The same thing with Kedusha, with the Nefesh HaBahamas. So Nefesh L'Kis, the tzaddik could actually take the ra that's in him and totally convert it to Torah. There's no more ra. The Nefesh Bahamas, it's not exactly Zeh Keneged Zeh. The Nefesh Bahamas inside of a person could remove the Nefesh L'Kis, but they can't destroy it. No matter what, he's a Jew, and he'll always be a Jew. The Zohar says that Al Kol Be'asor Shechinta Sharia. When there's 10 people, 10 Jews, the Shechinta is shiur. And we explained once that even if they're Rishonim, even if they're Mechaleh Shabbos, even if they're leftists, rightists, whatever it may be, if they're Jewish, the Shekhinah may not be inside of them, may have chased it out. They may have chased it out of the body, but they can't destroy it.
Even if they're Muslim?
What's that? Even what? But no matter what, it's there. Whatever? What? Oh. Yeah, whatever. And
It's a good question.
they're all Tinnick in Israel. We see that better now more than ever. As I mentioned before, one of the units, my friends donated a huge amount of film. Said 90% of the soldiers are putting out film now every day.
90% of the RDF?
In that, his unit had 7,000 soldiers.
Do you know which unit?
I can find out.
7,000 is a good.
What?
7,000 is not a good.
It's not.
I know, it's a Gudud, but I don't know whatever the name they call
Lugar?
it. This guy was in charge of that. And he said 10% are not ready yet. Out of the 90%, most of them don't own children. But right now, the army has them, they put them on every day. So that's the conclusion. So Russia doesn't have the power to destroy the type. You can chase it out of him, make it hover above him, but you can't destroy it. Now, in the levels of Russia, there are different madrigas. And depending on how often the guy gets tripped off. So the Baal Tanya said also depends, we have like this. A Rasha is someone who does an Avera, or Machshava Dibur U'Maisa. And that's a very, very, very difficult task that doesn't put us in too much good light, because that means the Bani is someone that never did an Avera, or never, at that point that he's holding at, he can't do an Avera. Rasha is someone who slipped. He slipped in thought, in deed, or in action. Even one Avera puts a person in the side of Russia. But you can snap back in a second. Even in Hirutshuva, you can snap back in a second. And even if a person does an Avera b'mezid, he can, but till he changes, he's still in the category of Russia, because it's not a definition of a person's behavior. It's a definition of a person's tzaddik, Beni Russia, on what his makeup is. If what's charlotte in him is his Nefesh L'Kis, he's a tzaddik. If what's charlotte is Nefesh Bahamas, then it's considered a Russia. even though he could do tshuva, his tshuva is accepted, but since he's capable of doing it again, because he hasn't eradicated the source of the problem, therefore he still has the title Russia until he totally converts the moves out to Nevish Bahamas.
How does it do that?
What?
How does it do that?
It's a surgery.
This service is called Service Shalbenim. And the whole service is here to teach us how to move out of the category of Russia to Beinoni. Not everyone can become a tzaddik. It's not. We have to long for that other side. Think of a needle, we're on this side. You got to get to the middle. And some can even get to the level of tzaddik, but actually, if Hashem sometimes wants the people in the middle. The Beinoni has a mile or two because of the struggles.
Benny's past the middle.
What?
Sounds like the middle. Benny's
Yeah,
only
right.
like-
Oh yeah.
Sounds like it's like covering
Yeah.
over.
The truth of the matter is that they ask the question, these things that we're learning seem to be very abstract in the world we're in today, and the expectations are very, very, very high. And someone once asked, let's see who was it, asked one of the rabbis, why does the Baal Tanya include this? These things are very high madregas. We're regular people. We need something that that talks to us. And he said that this was asked to the Baal Tanya himself. And he says, in time of Mashiach, it says, Mashiach comes to remove a hasarti, the sivoisius lev avim and psachim. Hashem removed the stone heart that we have. Meaning like this. We have a mind and we have a heart. And the things that we're learning may be very lofty things, maybe high madregas. And for most people, it's going to be very hard to penetrate into our lev even. It's like a stone doesn't allow it to come in. But if we learn it, even if it remains and it hasn't converted our heart and changed us, at least it's there. As soon as Mashiach comes, just pulls away he opens up the shade, and whatever we learn now automatically comes in instantly and elevates us to the level that we're in.
Now we're more in a live heaven.
We're in the lev even.
A lot of us to live where I'm so young.
What's that?
A lot of us wake up in the morning and be able to move to the next step. It's a live heaven.
So, in general, the matzav of the Avodah
We have a
Hashem.
Moyach heaven also.
We don't know what it was like.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I think Bechla, we have a Moyach heaven also.
I'm not contradicting that.
Nothing to do with recently.
I mean, you look at today, we were able to move things up. 50 people. It's just okay. Next story. What's the next? What's the next?
Yeah, it doesn't penetrate.
Heaven. Nothing's penetrating.
Right. That's because we explained what the problem is in this generation, not just this generation, is the Moyach of Das is missing. They don't have Das. Das means holding on to something. We're too impatient. We want Torah in 5 minutes. We have books, 5-minute book for this. We want to learn everything in 5 minutes. Nobody has patience or time to sit down with a concept and let it hammer it in to make it change you. We're already at the next step, next page, next chapter. We don't learn how to incorporate. That's one of the challenges we have at the end of the goals. But nevertheless, learning it alone is also tremendous, besides the fact that in a certain bechina it will affect us. And as I mentioned, everybody's going to be in the level of a total tzaddik at some times, at some moments, and at sometimes other levels. And therefore, it shouldn't discourage anybody, on the contrary. So, the Rasha that has many levels depends. Sometimes it's a Rasha, meaning a regular person. Most people are under that category. And every once in a while they slip. And right away afterwards, they slip in either an action, they do an Avera with the Maisa, or with Dibur, or with Machshava. And so right after that, they feel terrible, and they do tshuva. And they go back, most of the time they're okay. Every once in a while, even once a month, whatever, few they're nichshol, but then they get back on track. That's the Rosh V'Toivla and the many madregas. Some are only sitting in one level of their levushim, just machshava, dibur, or ma'aser. Some, all three. In a certain respect, the machshava is a more serious avera than the action, even though we get punished for our actions. But the machshava is more connected with our, the machshava is more connected with our neshama. In a certain respect, it says Chomer, and there the Tanya says the next level of Rasha doesn't do tshuva openly, he has a hurei tshuva. A hurei tshuva is a different level. The hurei tshuva means that he wants to do better, but he's not really doing the tshuva. Everybody, a lot of people, they want to be better, they just can't control themselves. And that's the second madrega.
So what's the difference? Why is the machshava of the avera can be worse than the action of the avera? The machshava of the machshava of the teshuva is almost not close to the higher level. Like the vice versa of
Avera, a person has three tools to do something. Either his hands, his action, by his speech, or by his thought. And the thoughts are the shorsh of everything. Like in a certain respect, if you don't like somebody, according to the Rambam, you have a choice. You could either punch him out, or you could hold that feeling of anger or whatever may be inside of you. Which one is worse? In halacha, according to the Rambam, it's an instant to keep it inside of you. Better to knock the guy out and get it over with. And,
I'll be back in 1 minute.
Protect me, okay?
So we see that although punish for action, because the machshava stays with the person, it affects everything. So that respect is it's a more serious violation. When it comes to Einshim, is the different Hashmanas only be Einish on actual things. And
I think this question was why hair tshuva is so
why
hair
what?
of hair is so strict.
The hair
Tshuva is so just the hair.
Here, why is here like a light thing? It's not a light thing. It's a
For
big thing.
teshuva, it's much lighter though than it is
Yeah.
for the
But
avera.
Hirut Tshuva is enough to take a person out of the category.
Okay, but I'm saying maybe there's the assumption because the lashon is the way you translate it that a hearer is a light thing because we're underestimating the power of makshava, right? A hearer is a very big thing. If a person did a ma'aser without a hearer, without a makshava, okay, then maybe it's not even a mitzvah in some cases, right? So maybe the hearer is actually primary. So the idea of somebody has hearer tshuva, it's bigger than saying tshuva. Is to have a hearer tshuva.
But the Hirut Tshuva is really the essence, and because you have to make a decision which one to change.
Person at that point is okay. That's okay.
What?
But it seems like for a moment the hair tshuva even for Kelega, just a moment that he has a hair tshuva.
Yeah, it says that
It's not
person
such
is
What's the definition of word hearer? What's the
Hebrew is like a thought.
for a moment the person has the tshuva.
How is it different than the word
It means-
makshava? What's the
it-
modification?
Hebrew means good intentions. The person doesn't want to be that.
Hearer.
It's not Hirut Tshuva, yeah, but what it
Person has
means
hearer
here.
raw. The person has a hearer raw.
That's right.
Right?
We're not
What's the difference
punishing.
between hair and machshava?
The difference
That's the
is
big
is there
question.
one?
That's the big question.
And what
so Hirut. It's like this, the way it works is like this. Hashem created the brain. I can handle one thought at a time. He did a big bracha for us. So sometimes our mind is distracted with wrong. We have a feeling, say, a feeling of jealousy, a feeling of anger, or whatever feelings there are out there. And we can't control what goes into our brain. But we could, in a way. We could just bring another thought in and push it right out. The person gets distracted in the middle of davening. And he finds a Moshe Renesh in Tokyo. So he can't control that. It comes in. But what he could control is not to be machshava. The hero comes in where we don't have a kaya to show it in most cases. But we want to dwell on that thought. So Even if a person, whatever, if a person thinks of eating a ham sandwich,
So here is the thought machshava is concentrating on it.
that's
Yeah,
right.
but
You're punished for
So
the,
here is more like
Voluntary.
passive thoughts.
yeah, the
We're not
Hero
machshava.
is forced on you.
Hero
No,
is,
how can you say that? How then the person? Why should the person get any credit for it at all?
Yeah, here that doesn't sound
Here
like
has to be. It
tshuva.
can't be like an Einfeld that something just fell into the person's head, right? It can be a you know.
Here tshuva sounds like
Flash.
he had a
Here
his
has
spirit
to-
was
It's
tshuva.
a
but
flash.
not the real
Flash.
truth. Only hero
It's a
truth.
flash.
Gotta be something because the
Flash.
Gemara.
Here, tshuva,
Tshuva is
we-
more fantasizing about something. And here
It's a machshava. It's more of a machshava. Fantasize more
What's
machshava.
Lashon Makshav?
Hero is something that comes into you.
Right?
Makshav is dwelling on it.
Makshav, you're churning on it. You're churning on it.
That's
A
right.
hearer is a
Flash.
To feel,
Loud
right,
voice.
exactly.
it's more natural.
So what is
The
it?
Gemara said me here about
Something comes in the
Rasa
end.
Shuvah.
Something that
Oh,
flashes into
okay,
you.
here we say this. So Abba Avinu left with her. Okay, he's the only Abba. Okay, that didn't say that Hashem appeared to him first. He said that Hashem spoke to him first, right? Orchaim says this, right? So why? Because Abba Avinu transitioned naturally, gradually, and organically into being able to hear Hashem, right? It wasn't like it was boom. It was
Right.
like
It came from him.
Yes, it came from him, right? So if you
Imat
say
Lamala.
that, is that hearer, right? The idea of taking oneself from one frame of thought to another frame of thought. Now once they're in the new frame of thought, it's the transition that's the hearer, right? A person moves from one thought frame of reference or from one
From
context,
here
or
to
from one
machshava.
mental model to a new mental model, right? It's that mental
Right.
model shift that is the hearer. Machshava is now that you're in the mental model, however aware you are of it, that's how much you're machshava, right?
Yeah.
The hearer is the transition, and that transition is what we get credit for in Tshuva.
Machshava,
Prince steps outside of himself. He says, "I'm going to think differently about it."
I think you combined it. If I understand right, you combined it. Simcha, you combined it machshava and hero.
hero is what he does.
No, hero is something comes into your mind. Machshava is dwelling on it.
That's what
Like well, you give an example from Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu got a hero, and therefore he worked on it with machshava.
But he said, Simple was saying that he didn't get the hero, he got it from himself.
But it had to come.
He started with Machshava,
He started from machshava.
Machshava.
So starting from you start from
But
machshava.
this is Chesaron.
No.
Machshava of a Baal
Is that
person is limited, he's finite. When it comes to the Ma'alamat, it comes from the infinite.
Machshava is limited. Yeah,
Yes,
machshava
this
is
is
limited.
Machshava telling on the
But
person.
hero is.
Fleeting
Hero
thought.
is coming from above.
Okay, that's one idea on that.
One thing, so hero is something that's coming, it's not something, a lot of times we go through things and we get like flashes, and that is when I say, oh my God, so that's more of something from above, something
Deep intentional thought.
Yeah, it's something meaning that, let's say a person is embarrassed and have these Machshava Zoras that will be coming in from his activities.
well, it comes from his activity, so he did an action that it comes to him.
Machshava Zoras come,
But that's the hero machshavas comes to him because of an action. Machshavas starts because of an action that he did bad.
not then, it could be somebody else's also. But Tzaddik has Machshava Zoras, well down because he's lifting up other people's Hurim. Again, the word, I don't think we have to
I'm
confuse.
right.
I'll tell you how, the way the Baal Tanya
Let me try
explains.
to put it this.
Okay.
Which there are many, right?
Hero is something that flashes into you.
Okay, that could also be.
And machshava is something that you're thinking about it willingly.
Where's the word Machshava?
Machshava, you're willingly thinking
You
about it.
are thinking.
So- Okay, that's a difference.
Oh,
Now what
Nevertheless,
he said about Avraham Avinu, that's where I got this.
well, Avram Avinu is saying is, he didn't have any Gilui till he was 75. Everything he did from his own. Neither did the Baskal till then. So his whole avodah is Hashem until he was by Lechacha, whether it was Moshe Nefesh or Kastim, whether he's proclaiming Hashem over the whole world, whatever he was doing was all done from his own actions. His own limited. He was still. That's why.
Are you sure here is taka machshava, taka thought? Maybe here is more a midah, a feeling.
Whatever you want to call it, it's called hero. So.
The rabbi said hero comes in. Hero comes in from something from above, something is limitless.
We're talking about thought.
Regardless of the good or bad.
Right.
Or mice.
Machshava is something limited.
Thought, speech, or action.
Right. So you have control of your thought, speech, and action, you don't have
I'll
control
say
of your
machshava is more
Herurim
dreaming.
as much.
No, it's the same
What?
thing when
Only
Thinking,
Herurim
dreaming of
tshuva.
something that year, so you're limited.
It says like this, that the
Machshava
Rosh
is like
Hashanah, the Rosh who occasionally falls. In between each Avera, he has Charata, and he has these Herurim tshuva. He regrets what he did. He has some bad feeling. Because I told you, Shema Nafshari, Shema Ska B'Ksas Ben Time. Means in between the Averas, the Chelik Otov that's inside of him sends him these Herurim.
Feels guilty.
That should, right, he feels guilty. Now it's not strong enough, like real tshuva, that he could, he knows he's going to do it again. It's just that he feels bad, but even that is considered a madrega of tshuva. So here, the Baal Time is looking at Huri tshuva as a lower madrega than what he said earlier, that the person is mischarit after he does an avera, muvakish mechila v'slicha me'Hashem, Hashem yisrachloi. All those things are for someone who actually does tshuva. Doing tshuva can be done in your thought also. A person who's mekadosh an isha and he's a manash tzaddik, she makes a deal. She said, "Listen, I'll marry you on condition that you're a tzaddik," and the guy's behavior is a rasha. Kedushin is chal; it's considered kedushin. We assume that he had a tshuva. He had a thought to do tshuva at that point. So the bottom line is that Huri tshuva is still considered something kosher. You may think that, what's a Huri tshuva? It's only regret, and you feel bad that you did an avera, and you're going to go on and do it again and again and again. And each time you do it, with Sham Aleim Charatas, the pasuk says, Shama full of regret. What kind of tshuva is that?
Why is that not incomplete tshuva? This is the Gavei Rambam, so he doesn't have a zivas echet, but he has the charata part.
Well, charata does only one thing. Real tshuva means, what does tshuva mean? You're returning, you're not going to do it again. You're returning to Hashem. Here, the charata is, the Hira tshuva is only to remove some of the enjoyment from the avera. When you have charata, you feel bad. So when a person felt good when he did the avera, now all of a sudden he feels bad to compensate for the good that he had. Now he feels bad. So it's sort of a little bit of a tikkun, but it's not the real tshuva because he knows he's going to do it again. He's not strong enough to say that he'll never do it again. And nobody could really ever say on any tshuva that he won't do it again. So what do we do with that? So the Yisrael explained that when a person does tshuva, if it was up to him, and he was under control, it was under his control, he never wanted to do that avera again. If the next day is nichshal, so that's, it wasn't his doing. He has to do tshuva again. If it were up to him, he wouldn't want to do it again. That's considered good tshuva. That's why every day, we say 3 times a day, slach lanu, we do tshuva, say hashivenu, we say a bracha, with a shem, a malchus, with shem, Hashem raised with tshuva, and slach lanu, Hashem forgives us. And then 3 hours later, there we go again. We got to say a bracha again. Please forgive us for sinning. But we did tshuva 3 hours earlier.
We see it
And Marav, and the next day too.
And the question is why do you say Matzah Kippur?
right after Yom Kippur.
That's right.
Right.
So what is going on? So the answer is that at the moment, when you're saying the slach lanu hashivenu, tshuva is 100%. If it was up to you, you wouldn't want to ever do the avera again. Now, after you finish davening, you end up in wherever it is, and you get pulled into an avera again. Here we go again. So you do the cycle again, but doesn't it remove the fact that your tshuva on the previous thing was one level, and now you have to do it again. So it's all in the mindset of the person. But here, Huri tshuva means the person isn't even ready yet to say, it's up to me, I'm not doing it again. He didn't get to that level yet. Let's say a person likes to say Lashon Hara. But he's not ready, he knows he's not ready to change his whole lifestyle and not do it. He knows it, he's not going to fool himself. But at least he feels bad that he did it. That's already one step.
Rishon Mo'echaratos, what does it help?
Well, but at least the time is still there. The spark is still there. So that one day he can totally change it.
He still
It
doesn't change his status. How would it change his status?
What?
You never said
Doesn't
Still
get out,
Russia.
doesn't get out of his state. It's still Russia, but there's different levels of Russia. Thousands of levels. And each time this karot, it could be goes up to a high level. And eventually, it could be some event in life, like we had now, where you see a massive. I was telling somebody that the entire history of Golos, we never had something like we had now. We didn't have the amount of mitzvahs and change in Klal Yisrael in such a short time. It's impossible. Not the Rambam, not Rashi, not the Chavetz Chaim to do it. They didn't have the tools that we have today to reach out to the entire world. Whether it's the internet, the WhatsApp, all these things, that in a moment's notice, you can turn over the entire, and we see next show, turn over the whole population. It's amazing. So there's always, these madrigas, as long as they're there, it may be dormant, the Kedusha may be dormant, the guy may be a leftist, but one change could change the whole story around.
Is the following tshuva, is it worth anything? Let's say someone has, whatever their job is, they're set up, they have a schedule of sins waiting for them. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They're going to do whatever it is. But after each one, they feel bad or just apologize for it. Is that worth anything?
Yes.
Even though they're intending to that state, they're scheduled to go 2 p.m. wherever, whatever.
It's not tshuva, it's hurry tshuva. That's what you're hitting on the button. This definition here is saying that even if the person's not ready yet for the tshuva, and he can't do the tshuva, he's planning to do it again. But
what if he's not planning? He just
You don't say.
then it's not planning.
he doesn't want to. If he had the choice, he wouldn't do it again. It's like, I never want to do this again.
That's right, and then it's a high melez. It's more than hira. Hira means you know you're going to do it again, but right now at least you're taking away some of that feeling of the negative. That alone has a consideration in Shemayim.
I feel like you have that every Yom Kippur. Like every Yom Kippur,
Right.
you want to on everything, but you know that you're going to go back to your regular
But
life.
there, if it's up to you, for most people on Yom Kippur, if it's up to them, they don't want to go back to it. They know they're going to go back to it. You know that because of the world, but if it was up to you, you wouldn't want to do that. It's, you know, understand, it's a difference. This guy here, that person you're mentioning,
He's mentioning after Barshu, but I'm speaking about the last tshuva.
no, that's a different thing. There, when the person has the mind, listen.
Where's the difference between these three?
Okay, the difference between the three is like this. When a person is about to do an Avera, and he says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I'll just do tshuva afterwards. This way I'll erase it. So the tshuva is the reason why he's doing the Avera. Then it's very hard for him to do tshuva unless he pushes real hard. He's not going to get help in any way from Shemayim. Because there, the tshuva was the cause for him to do the Avera. Of course, he knew that after the Avera he could do tshuva, and that gave him the door opener to do the Avera. Therefore, if he wants to do tshuva after that, it will be very, very difficult. If a person pushes, he could do it. This situation we're describing is not that he really doesn't want to do it, but he knows that
He has it scheduled, the way you described.
he's not holding by the tshuva yet. He's not holding by tshuva, but he's holding by charata. Charata, that's the hero tshuva, at least that's from charata. That already is a start.
The charata and the tshuva and the...
Charata on the action. They may say, listen, if a person does it very once, imagine somebody who a murderer, when he goes to the judge and says, listen, I know I killed this guy, but you should know 90% of the time I don't do this. Just slip once.
Yeah, if it's once in a while,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
You know, so please have achmanis on me. When a person does that he's basically doing two things. He's married b'malchus. He tells you to do something, we don't do it. So it's merida b'malchus. And but more importantly, it signifies that there's something wrong in the neshama. That means his nefesh kiss is weaker than a nefesh bahamas. That's what it signals. The behavior may have led to an avera, but it's really a mirror of what's going on inside. And that's what we're more concerned about. We want to fix the inside, and then we would not have the struggles of as many struggles on the outside. But again, there's many, many different madrigas. What the Tanya is telling you, no matter what level of Russia a person is in, even we didn't do the third one. The third one is that the person is so bad that it doesn't have any charata, and doesn't have any hurry tshuva at all. He's going his own way, and he basically chased out any good that's in him. But afal pikain, he didn't eradicate his type. No Jew was able to do that. It hovers above him, and as we said, it could always come back in a person. There's always hope for every Jew. Those are the three madregas. One who does the very occasionally, we can do tshuva afterwards, even though he may fall into it again. If it was up to him, he wouldn't do it. That's a higher level. The other next level is a person who's realistic with himself, and he hasn't been able to be gover over himself. He's not going to do this anymore, and he's not holding it, but he feels bad after he does it, and now that charata, that's called shiur tshuva, and that will help at some point that he'll be able to move to the level where you could actually eradicate it. And then you have the Ralai, who totally fell away, but nevertheless is still there above him, and he needs a knock in different ways or wake up call where even he has hope. So we have, on the one hand, the imbalance. So in the next perek we're going to do is going to be the Benni. And that's from then going to take us on for the rest of the Sefer, the main job, and how do we become a Benni? How do we leave the matzah that we're in, and to leave the level of Russia and get to the level of Benni, and then how to get to the tzaddik. But till now we see that there are these two levels. There's a tzaddik, the tzaddik and the Russia, and on the one hand, the tzaddik has a benefit because Hashem helps. It's really not an equal battle if you think about it, because first of all, Nevi Muhammad comes to the person 13 years earlier. He got a head start into the person. He's born with him.
It's different. Right?
What's that?
Al says that it comes. Just think for a second.
I'll prepare.
At the time of birth, the
Because before
comes in.
The Yetzer Tov.
At the time,
First, the Yetzer Hara, the Gemara says.
at the time the child
The
conceived,
Yetzer
the Yetzer Hara goes in with 40 days or something like that.
Because otherwise, he wouldn't want to come out.
Right.
The only reason it comes out to this world because he wants to have Tavis on Mazet.
But I thought
So he stays inside and live with his Malach.
I thought the birth Yetzer Tov comes in.
Well, it comes in. Ultimately, it comes by the Bar Mitzvah. The Yetzer is called Melech Zaken Exil. He's the Melech. Thinks he's the Melech, a big shot. Zaken, he's older, and Exil is a fool. So
that's because doesn't every bar mitzvah bacher feel like a crazy new revelation in his life? Like the whole nother part of him coming in there. You feel completely differently.
What's that?
You should feel completely differently the second he turns 13.
That's right. But remember that it's coming into something which he's already naturally used to it for 13 years. It's not so simple. But,
It's there.
right. When we say that the Nefesh comes in, there's madregas, there's 5 levels of neshama. So finishes coming in. Some part comes in when the baby's given a name. That's part 1. And then there's different phases. 2 years, Zman Hayanika. While it's nurturing, it gets certain levels. And then there's 9 years. There's certain levels of halacha when a child is 9 years old, 12 and 13. Different madregas. But when the person is bar mitzvah, then it officially comes in. So Nefesh Bahamas has an advantage point. The Nefesh Lokis is really on the losing side of the battle, but it has one benefit. It has Hashem to help him. Hashem, so he's got to help it to overcome. According to the Rabbeinu Bechaya, no matter what situation a person is in, we always have equal bechira. No matter what generation we're in, no matter what matzav we're in, no matter what crazy world we were born into, we are in the exact middle all the time. Hashem puts the balances on both ends, and that's why.
No matter how bad we go, we're still in the middle.
What?
No matter how bad we go or how good we go, we're still in the middle.
Yeah, because we could still, yes, we always have, but Russia doesn't lose the bechira. And there's opportunities in the second, like we saw now. We saw the leftists, the people who never did these things. I want to say whatever they did, but to turn around in one day.
You said they were leftists.
They're coming
Far
from
back
something.
there, yeah.
What?
You said they were leftists.
Or if you want to interview some pilots, they'll be bringing me Sunday.
They'll be what?
They'll be bringing me Sunday.
Oh yeah.
I have 3 of them coming.
The one who flew on
Coming
Travis
for
was
2
bugging
days.
you crazy to fly.
They're coming on Sunday. They'll be here for a day and a half after the having meetings.
So you see these people, so you can see they have no better proof than that. So we should be zoicha. We should all have not only Hahuri Tshuva, at this time now we should move up to the highest level. We see the changes that are happening. And that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though we don't have total control, as long as the Ratzon is there. The Tshuva has to do with your Machshava. Machshava is right. Mela, we should be to. We'll see afterwards that what we could control, maybe not all of our thoughts, but we could control our behaviors. So our machshava diba ma'aseh will be under our control, and then we get the proper guidance. Okay, what?
Thank you so much. I washed.
Do we have a minute from Marv, ladies and gentlemen?
I'll stick around if you need me.
Bench first. The bench first. Whoever wants.